first topic of the day, Tyrese. You know, the Celtics, we just played against the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis, without Middleton, and it seemed like we struggled with this team more so than I thought we would. You know, I know Drew Holiday is not a superstar in the sense of a Giannis or even a Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, but it was still a close game than I would have liked. And there was a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of situations going on. And we're going to get to Tar Heel Nation's comments saying Schroeder flourishing for the Celts now. He's away from the retirement home. Man, the names. We got to work on the names, Tar Heel Nation. I understand what you were going for, man. But with that being said, you know, it's still an alarm to see that we did struggle with the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis or even Middleton. So, Tyrese, from your perspective of kind of like what you are seeing from the background, I know you didn't watch the whole game, but I think you've seen enough of Jason Tatum. The reason why I wanted to talk about this a lot more is because I think Jason Tatum's game, it's starting to rub me the wrong way. I'm not sure if it is with you.
Yeah, it has been for a while, man. I like his shot selection is just off. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's a little frustrating at times because he'll get the ball right and he won't even look for certain people to see if they're open or not. He would just go to the basket, you know. I mean, not go to the basket, but yeah, pretty much like try to do it all, right? Hitting jumpers like when the ball needs to be moving. And it sucks we have Brown out right now because he's one of the guys who can who's really good in transition and can kick out, and you know, yeah, it's very frustrating at times seeing that.
Yeah, you know, the thing that kind of like gets me a lot with Dennis Schroeder, or not Dennis Schroeder, he actually played well tonight, which is, you know, I'm not sure if we're going to get an almost 40-point game from him again. The frustrating thing about Tatum at times is I do believe that there is a great player in there. It's just, it's so ingrained in this Kobe Bryant mentality of I need to either, you know, get a triple team on me and shoot the shot over somebody, or it's I'm going to take the sidestep three. There was one sidestep three, especially in the crucial moments of that overtime where it could have swung either way, to be honest with you. And luckily for us, the Bucks weren't as great of a three-point shooting team. I mean, we shot 29%, they shot 34%, but you know, they didn't really seem to be as alarming as I thought it would be in overtime. I had to check the stats for overtime to see what the box score was for that possession, but it just felt like anytime Tatum was going to sidestep a three, anytime Tatum was going to do anything, it scared me because I didn't know what he was going to be doing. You know, I didn't know if he was like going to make the shot, and even if he does take those jumpers, it still frustrates you as a coach or someone that's, you know, a basketball aficionado like yourself, Tyrese, to just like see him take these shots that are just not necessary.
Yeah. It's, I always like wonder, like, is inmate telling him anything about that? Or is he just letting him go out there and do his thing, you know, because he's the face of the franchise. And, yeah, it's kind of a lot of questioning because it's like, other than Smart speaking up about how, you know, both of them need to find open teammates, you know, it's really nobody else. It's kind of just the Tatum show. Brown, to me, honestly, he hasn't even, he doesn't do a lot of that. I mean, he takes more shots than he's done before, but not like he's a better shot. He has a way better like shot selection. Yeah, I honestly, man, like, I would try to get a boatload for Tatum right now. It's like, I don't know, man. Why is Brown out again?
Hamstring injury.
Oh, so, yeah, he's been having a lot of those.
Yeah, so those are kind of touch and go type of things, so I don't necessarily want to rush him back. But I don't think we'll get rid of Tatum, and I don't think we should. The thing that we need to do with Tatum is just send him to like a strictly like, this is going to be your role in the team, and you're going to be a scorer. But I just feel like there's a lot of east to west with Tatum's game, and there's not a lot of north to south. Like I don't feel like there's a lot of driving opportunity. Like he doesn't drive the ball with like confidence that I would expect a guy that's as his size, his height, with his body type to really go out and finish. Like those should be finishes for me. And it just doesn't seem like that's what Tatum is at all. And again, like I don't expect him to be like this all around like superstar scorer or like, trying to,
Mm.
dunk on people, yam on somebody. Like he has the ability to do it, but it just feels like to me he's watched too much Kobe Bryant and tries to emulate him way too
Yeah.
much. And I talked about it last week with you and Pete. It just seems like, and I stole this from Cuffs the Legend, so I want to also make sure to give him his credit. It's like he's basically trying to do these like moves so that his trainer can get footage to show his other clients like, yo, this is gonna work in the NBA. And it just like, and some of those moves are like, it's so unnecessary movement and so unnecessary with some of its stuff that it frustrates me to keep watching Tatum as a Celtics fan continue to do the same things. The definition of insanity is doing something over and over again, expecting the same result.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't even watch him really like that anymore, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's very frustrating to see that play because I know what I'm getting out of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no team structure, no voice really, besides Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
um, I mean, it. I mean, I don't know, man. Like Tatum, I don't know what to tell him. Like, what? Pass the ball? Okay, you told me that before, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the stats, man, 1 assist through 42 minutes of an NBA basketball game.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
that's got to tell you something, man. I mean, like, look, I know stats can be misleading when, like, you can be a great passer or a great mover of the ball when you can see that, like, the passes and the space that you're creating with your dribble, and you can kind of go in the paint and create close opportunities. I thought he did a better job of that in the overtime in the fourth quarter,
Mhm.
especially when Dennis Schroeder had the hot hand at the end. Dennis Schroeder took like 27 shots in tonight's game, so you could tell that he was feeling it tonight. Obviously,
What did?
almost having 40 points in a game.
Oh,
Still
he had
six,
40. Oh wow.
almost 38. He had 38 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and again, the assists are not coming. Our assist numbers are not very good. I mean, not saying that they were much better. I know, it can be misleading when you see that, the Milwaukee Bucks had 23 assists compared to our 22. I know ours are more spread out because we like to move the rock. We share the rock a little bit more. But
Mhm.
again, Tatum with 1 assist is unacceptable at this stage in his career. Especially someone that has already kind of had that seasoned veteranship to him now. It's got, these numbers have to step up. Not saying he's got to be the whole, package and total package of like, oh, I'm throwing like 5 or 8, 5 to 7 assists a game. Like, I don't expect him to do that, but I expect a little bit more movement. And there's times in Tatum's game and even in the Celtics game where you're just pulling your hair and just getting
Mhm.
frustrated with the fact that it's like, dude, I need you to not shoot the ball every single time you get it. Like, you need to be able to, get opportunities for other guys and do things that really help the offense move. And instead, I
Mhm.
don't really see that from him. And I just get this sort of, I would say, frustration of, Tatum, stop shooting the ball so much. It was the way I felt in that bubble game against Miami a long time ago. It
Oh
was
yeah.
it was that first.
20. Yeah. 2020. Yeah.
And it was the most frustrating thing to see in the world where Tatum, we had a chance to actually go to the Eastern Conference Finals and, take a commanding lead or, take the first game, I believe, in that series. And we ended up
Yeah.
losing that and then ended up losing that series. And here we are now with no Tatum, or sorry, with no Kyrie, no Gordon Hayward. And we're stuck with what we have right now.
Yeah, I feel like he knows we're not going to be competing, so he's just trying to get his, trying to get his points because
Hmm.
it just doesn't make any sense, man. Like 1 assist throughout a whole game, and it went into overtime.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. Like I don't know, man. Like if Brown wasn't so injury prone, if he was like a rock solid, not injury prone, I would trade Tatum, man. Like um, he just gives me Carmelo vibes, man. Like he's a good post scorer. Like he can get to the cup, but he can't make his teammates better. And if you want to be how we think he should be, how
Mm-hmm.
he was in 17, 18.
Yeah.
He needs to learn how to pass the ball. Like it's he's not going to be a great player like that. He's just going to be a great scorer. And we've seen those guys before. Carmelo, we've seen who else? A number of guys, and they can't make their teammates better. So it's I don't know, man. Like I'm over us. I called this though. Like someone was telling me, like, yeah, just let it play out, see how MA does. But I knew this was going to be horrible. I called it. I knew
Yeah.
this year was going to be horrible, man.
I mean, I didn't expect too much from this season either. I think we both predicted. I think you predicted the fourth or fifth seed. I predicted a playing game, and I think it's going to be somewhere in between, right? It's going to be that like 6 to 8 seed, even 6 to 9 seed, where we're going
6 to 9, yeah.
where we're just going to be trying to struggle to see what teams are going to be in that playoff position. I think it's going to be whoever the healthiest team is at that point. And if Brown, like you said, can get rid of these kind of injury prone situations that's going on, I would love for that to be the case, but I'm still kind of cautious with that. But let's move to Dennis Schroeder in this game. Dennis Schroeder, like I said, we've been critical of him, or at least I have been, just due to the fact that it was kind of like a last minute signing. It was a signing that we were like, well, the Lakers didn't really want him. He was almost like a Laker reject at this point, and we all know how people feel about Laker rejects. I feel like if you're not with LeBron James and you're part of his team, sometimes you get left in the dust. But
Yeah.
Dennis Schroeder, to his credit, played a great game tonight. Had the hot hand. Obviously, I think maybe due to Brown's, absence, he was given the green light to, attack and start doing things on the offensive end. And I've never had any issues with Dennis Schroeder on the offensive end. To me, it's always been the defensive side of things that have always kind of kept me weary of a guy like Schroeder. And I think I was proven right tonight, with all these low post touches that Drew Holiday got. It led to, some great looks and 45 cuts, or, wing cuts, I should say. 45 is kind of our terminology that we use for our basketball team. But, wing cuts to, the opposite wing cutting to the basket. And it's just kind of one of those things you look at it and you're just like, I understand. I think we could use him as trade bait. I think honestly, this game, and I know a lot of people are, who was it that was texting me this? I think it was one of my friends was texting me this, like, yo, are you guys glad that you kept Dennis Schroeder? I'm like, no, I'm hoping that this is trade bait so we can get some
right.
team.
I hope his value goes up, right? Like that's what I was thinking. Like, man, when you told me that, I'm like, thank God. Like, hopefully now he can get some value and we can try to ship him out and try to maybe even if he can have a couple more games like this, maybe we don't have to put so much into trade for Ben. Maybe we can give him up and like, I don't know, a couple first rounders and Al Warford or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because man, we need a point guard bad.
Mm-hmm. I wanted Lonzo this whole time, man.
You said what?
I wanted Lonzo so badly.
Oh yeah, I know.
I will keep saying that we should have gone after Lonzo this offseason. And I think it would have been a great combo, but I like you said, I think the owners are they're kind of not greedy, I would say, but they're kind of cheap to some extent, right? They're like, we paid Tatum, we paid Brown. Yep. I don't want to spend any more money besides, getting the role player guys and just kind of having our team based around those guys. And
they don't honestly, Bernie, they don't care about winning. Like if the Celtics cared about winning, they would put the chips on the table and start signing guys or trading for guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Warriors did, like the Raptors did when they went after Kawhi. They put their chips on the table and they doubled down and they said, hey, we're going to go after this guy because we know we have the pieces. We just need one more piece. Wick is not willing to put his chips on the table and go after guys who can be good contributions to our team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clearly shown, man. Like they talk about this banner and everything, but it's like you got to put your chips on the table, man. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you can't just speak it verbally. Like you have to actually put your money where your mouth is and get quality.
Exactly.
These guys are undersized, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a frustrating situation to kind of look at it. And again, you look at all the stuff that we have here for the Boston Celtics right now. Marcus Smart, I think, played a much better game tonight. He kind of had the hot hand in the fourth quarter. I thought he did a really good job of scoring the rock at times. Again, he had that verbal confrontation or that kind of verbal outcry of like, Tatum and Brown, you guys are ball hogging the ball. Let everyone else have a chance at shooting and doing their things. And, I think to his credit, I think that's worked to kind of at least ease the tensions in Boston, because I do feel like there was some tension between all the players. But at the same time, I don't blame Tatum and Brown for taking those shots, because no one on this team really has proven to be a consistent scorer like those guys have. I think guys like Langford and Naismith, guys that are, kind of the players that we drafted with those infamous draft picks that Danny Ainge stole from every team. Finally that trade cycle has been completed. Romeo Langford, I thought, did a great job on defense, but offensively, I just didn't think he brought it to the point where I was impressed with some of the drives that he had in the game. I could notice some drives in there where it was just like, those are some weak takes, and you need to be stronger, especially if you're trying to, be the sort of player that we thought you were going to be, right? Tyler Hero got taken in front of you, or I think we took Langford in front of, Tyler Hero. Whatever you think of Tyler Hero, I still think of Tyler Hero is like a pretty good player. Not saying that he's great or amazing.
Yeah, but he's a solid player. He's a
solid player.
He's a starter.
Yep, starter.
He's not a scrub. This guy can get what? He can get you what, 27? Any given night off the bench.
Maybe not 27, but he can at least give you like a solid like 14 to 12 to 14. I think he can give you 12 to
per game.
I think he can give you a solid 12 to 14 points in any game. And what has Romeo Langford given us these past couple of years? Nothing really. I mean, maybe like a couple of cool like handshakes for Tatum and Brown.
Yeah. But like that goes to my point. Like this guy Tyler Hero, he can go off the bench, come off the bench and get you 30 any night. Mm-hmm. Like he can play, man. He can really play. And we could have honestly, I think when a couple years ago we could have traded for him when his value was low.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't want him.
Yeah. What's interesting to me, Romeo Langford, Naismith, I feel like is never going to get the minutes that he really needs to see if we do have something with him, which kind of sucks. I feel like MA goes with a very short rotation when it comes to bench players. The one player I'm very curious to see, because I thought he played really well last season, and for some reason it's just not been included in playing time, and he's been getting actually a lot of DMPs lately, or at least in this game he got a DMP. Peyton Pritchard, man. I understand he's Danny Ainge's son. I'm not sure if he's injured or not, or what the situation is for Pritchard. But like when I look at his games so far, and let me see if I can find his game logs. It seems like his minutes have greatly reduced from his first season to where he's at right now. Like now, I believe last year he was averaging some pretty good points per game, and this year now it's like he's averaging only 2.2. What's up, Sean? How you doing, man? 1.8 rebounds, and just not really being part of it.
Because we have Dennis now, and he doesn't want to upset Dennis, so that's the only thing I can think of. Because Pritchard's solid, man. Like,
yeah, man. It's frustrating because I think Peyton Pritchard can actually give us something, and right now it just seems like it hasn't really. I would say I don't know if Udoka has a vendetta against him. Not saying he was like anything special, right? Not saying that he was like this sort of like superstar, all-star player off the bench. But what I will say is that he averaged almost 10 points a game coming off the bench. With almost 20 minutes a game, and now it seems like those minutes have been cut in half, and now is only playing about 11 to 10 minutes a game, averaging 2.2. And I just, for a guy that shot 41% last year, I know he didn't really take that many shots. He took 6 a game last year, to now I think he's only taking like 3 a game this year. I would say it's a very kind of like weird dynamic to see that he is not really being involved in any sort of I'm trying to think of the right words. Like, he's not being involved in the game plan, which is weird to me.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think of is they're either trying to save him for a trade and not have him get injured again, or I don't honestly understand that either. Like, he's a solid player, man. Like, he deserves to get some minutes. How the hell is Grant Williams getting minutes over Peyton Pritchard? It just doesn't make any sense. So again, somebody's pulling the strings on this doll. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's Wick. I don't know if it's I don't know who it is, but things are starting to look different. You got you you got Peyton Pritchard on the bench. You have what? You
Yeah, man.
got Tatum just taking all these shots, only getting one
Mm-hmm.
assist. I don't know, man. I think it's the assistant coaches too. Like, I know they had Jerome there. They had some other guys there who were
Mm-hmm.
like, used with the who had a good relationship with the Jays, and even when Horford was there, and they're all gone. Like, it's a whole new cast now. So I don't think they're holding even like the team accountable or speaking up or anything. Like, I feel like it's just a whole like free for all type going on. So that's
Yeah.
really dangerous, man. It seems to me, as far as I'm concerned, the season's over for us. Like, unless there's some type of big package going down, like where you're shipping out like a Brown or a Tatum, and you're getting some really good pieces, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can start from there. I just can't see turning the corner and just
Mm-hmm.
going on a big run, a 10-game winning streak. This team is not that. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be ninth, eighth, ninth seed, maybe even 10. you know, and then they're gonna say, "Hey, they need this, they need," but they're not gonna go get it. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
we've been needing a center for what, 2 years? We still haven't got one. three
I think
years.
I think the point guard position to me has been the biggest hole, and I know that
Even
will.
that, yeah, that is too. But come on, you can't have 6'6" Grant Williams in the front court, like in the front, like just getting annihilated.
Yeah. I mean, I
Like,
guess that's the
imagine
reason.
if we,
I mean, I guess the reason that's the reason why you start Horford, right, and have like Grant Williams come off the bench, kind of like that
yeah,
versatile, like Draymond big. And I understand, there's some frustration and some cause for pause in that sort of situation. But what I will say is that like I also don't think that this is the same Horford that we had like years ago. I think
exactly.
I think this Horford
Yep.
is much older. You can see that he doesn't move as he once did. A couple even just a couple years back.
Years ago,
I'm not
yeah.
even talking like his Atlanta Hawk days. I'm just even talking about his first Boston days. And I
Yep.
just felt like he wasted his time in Philly. And to me, like when I think of the Celtics right now, I just feel like this is kind of a misfit team, and I just think that. I just want something, man. I want some big changes, man. Otherwise, it's gonna be like you said, a frustrating season of just empty promises and just same old Celtics after having so much
Yep.
success in the last couple of years. With finding Tatum, with finding Brown, and building the team around those guys along. Adding Kyrie Irving, adding Gordon Hayward, and just not you know utilizing this team to its fullest potential is it's a frustrating thing. And Sean, you said I think the Celtics need a dominant center more than a point guard, but what do I know? Yeah, exactly. What do you know, Sean? Huh? What do you know? No, I'm just playing, Sean. I do agree with you that I think if a center presented itself in whether it's Karl Anthony Towns, I know that you're not a big fan, Tyrese, but I
Yeah.
my number one is still Sabonis. Like
Yeah.
I still think we can
He's
I think we can steal Sabonis, but it depends on how the Pacers do this season, and I think we could actually get him.
yeah, I don't know if we can get him, because who would be stupid enough to actually give up a guy like that, who's probably the top two best center in the league right now, and was last year, but was went under the radar. I
Mm-hmm.
guess you could say all-star, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like, I think he would be a very good piece for us, very good, and then maybe try to go after. I don't know, man. Like, if we can somehow, I don't know, man. Like, even trading, like, I was thinking maybe even trading Jalen for Sabonis, and then trying to get Ben, that would be pretty good.
I mean, it'd be a different
because
look and different dynamic, and then, but the
it
problem
would,
is,
but we would have size, we would have rebounding, we wouldn't be able to hide anymore. We
hmm
would be the only concern would be is the bench.
yep. But I think
That's
you can
the
space.
only thing because it's like how much assets are you giving away for a guy like Sabonis? Is you
I'm
know
I'm
is Jalen Brown enough?
I'm ready to get rid of Richardson. I'm ready to get rid of Naismith. I'm ready to get rid of Langford. I'm ready to get rid of Parker. And his Cantor.
Ready to
I'm
get rid
definitely
of
ready.
all those Chipotle
I'm ready
guys.
the Chipotle crew. You know what?
Oh
You know what's
man, they
crazy?
were
Just to
running
just
hot.
just to go on a side tangent. I looked this up and I talked to Sean today. Chipotle stock is like $2,000, and I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
not.
it is. Yeah, their stock is very high. They don't have a lot of shares outstanding,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
that's probably one of the reasons why. But yeah, it is crazy.
Hilo. All right, my boy Pete. I know he couldn't join tonight just because I had coaching and just everything was going. Oh yeah, you texted me this. We'll talk about it in a second, Pete. Before we kind of continue to kind of go on a different train and talk about other teams and players. But I mean, the last thing I'll say about the Boston Celtics is I think that this is a game again where it shows that we have an inability to close when it matters most and play with the lead. I still feel like we're a little shaky in that aspect, even with Brown gone. And to me, it's just one of those situations I look at it and I just want to make sure that for Boston Celtics fans to not get your hopes up too much that you're going to expect like this automatic like fourth to fifth seed
Oh no,
Celtics that you're used to. I think we're gonna have to lower the expectations a little bit, and we're gonna have to start to think about what we're gonna do for the future. Do we trade
I
away
think
some
it's clean
assets?
house, man. Like honestly, like not saying the Jays, but like everyone else is up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just don't know. Like pretty much everybody is displaceable. It's either they're too short,
Mm-hmm.
they're too old, or they just don't have game. They're decent, but they're too young. We don't need young guys, man. Like these guys are in their prime. They're not even in their prime, and we got guys who are barely out of college.
Mm-hmm.
Like we
That's a
like we
fact.
need some vets, man. Like I don't understand it. But then again, that goes to my thinking of Wake being cheap, you know? He
Yeah.
gave Tatum $195 million. That's on his balance sheet. He gave Brown 120, which was a steal in my opinion. Then he had to get Al Horford, which still has a pretty hefty contract.
Yep. And I'm ready to
And
get
the
rid
only
of that
reason why he went
contract.
after him is because he felt like his money was safe there because Al played for his organization.
Mm-hmm.
Al knows the offense, but Al's not the same.
Yep.
So it's kind of like it's kind of wasting his money because he's
Exactly.
getting no production. It's a he's he's kind of a liability because I mean, what could he really do? What, bring the ball up the floor? Like he can't. He's not the same of what he was getting 14, 7 and 8.
Yeah.
He's done, man. Like his contract is pretty massive for his play of game.
Yeah.
It's
I definitely agree with that, Tyrese. We'll see what happens, man. This is gonna be I would say it's going to be, like I said, a frustrating season with high highs and low lows, and it's just going to be a roller coaster of a ride. But
it's going to be really bad. I think it can if Brown is out, if Brown gets injured or something like that, and it's only Tatum,
mhm.
I think we could be talking about lottery.
Hey, man,
Because
yeah,
you got a lot of young guys who just
I
really don't care about winning right now. Like they're just trying to get paid and put their talent on display to different scout or different GMs or different
yep,
teams. They're not worried about winning right now. They already know they're not the focal point of the team, so they're just trying to showcase for people who are looking. You know what I'm saying? Who are looking. Um,
exactly,
so this can get really ugly quickly.
yeah,
And Ime Adoka is not the guy to try to turn it around because he has no experience.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. And again, guys, we'll see what happens with the Boston Celtics. This is going to be a fun and frustrating season. I titled it the most frustrating team because I do believe that the talent is there in terms of like the superstar name and power, but the play on the court just doesn't see it. But Let
It
us
looks good.
know.
It looks decent on paper. It looks good on paper, right? But
Yep.
when you put it all together, it doesn't mesh.
I definitely agree there. So, like I said, guys, let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of the Boston Celtics? Are you concerned if you're a Boston Celtics fan? Or are you saying, no, the Celtics are fine. We're going to still be a fourth or fifth seed in the Eastern Conference? Let us know in the comment section down below.